Welcome to From the Honeycomb podcast. I am your host, Katerina and Join me as we explore stories of fearless female entrepreneurs and inspiring women in architecture, construction, engineering, and beyond. Each episode is a captivating blend of topics that resonate with the soul. Whether you're here to learn more about entrepreneurship, architecture, holistic living, or just need a little extra inspiration, you've come to the right place. So sit back, relax, and let the buzz of positive energy spark your curiosity. All right. Well, welcome back to From the Honeycomb podcast. There's been a little bit of a hiatus. I haven't been recording. Life has been really, really busy, but today I am joined by a special guest who hasn't been here since the end of 2024, I believe, on the podcast.
Wow.
So Jesse, my husband / contractor / love of my life. Welcome back to From the Honeycomb podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So as you know, we begin every episode by sharing something that we were grateful for in the present moment. I am really grateful, and I journaled about this after my morning meditation this morning, I am really grateful for how my company is doing. I have just had this abundance of work come through and things have just been going so well. And it's been amazing. It's almost like it's amazing. Like once it's going, it's going. And I'm kind of experiencing this problem for the first time where I'm like, I have too much work that I feel like I can take on. And so I'm looking to delegate. And it's just, and I'll get deeper into this episode, in the episode when we talk about how we're doing, business wise and stuff, but it's been exciting. And I'm really, really grateful that, officially 2 years into the business, I made the most amount of money I've ever made in my entire life in 1 month. So I'm really proud of what I've accomplished and how hard I've been working, and to see that the consistency, the showing up, the saying yes to projects that, deck repairs, things that just weren't, fancy and great. I still said yes to them. And, now the abundance is just flowing in. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
Nice. Honestly, that was going to be what I was grateful for.
Oh,
yeah, it was how hard you're working, how hard you're hustling, and being dedicated to your company and your vision and staying true to yourself. So that was going to be my thing. But you stole that. So I think probably what I'm grateful for is probably my health. Just seeing some of the problems that my family's going through with some of their health issues. It's like I had a tear in my hand that that's seeming to heal itself, instead of going to the surgery that they recommended. So I'm just kind of grateful that my, health is good.
No, absolutely. No, and I think we've been focusing so much on our health recently too, and just learning about the things you eat, the things that you consume, and fitness, and I think too, seeing how our family is, especially after last year, which was a hard year for us, just seeing when you take care of yourself and your body and just the longevity that you need. So
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well, good. Hi, it's me, Katerina. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to share with you something that can change the trajectory of your life. If you are ready to start your own architecture firm but are feeling overwhelmed by where to begin, I understand, because I felt the same way when I first embarked on my entrepreneurial journey. This is why I have created the ebook, The Mindful Blueprint for Launching Your Architecture Firm. This comprehensive workbook contains everything I wish I had known before starting my own firm. From building a solid business plan to creating your brand, The Mindful Blueprint for Launching Your Architecture Firm offers a step-by-step guide tailored to your timeline, whether you're launching your firm today, next month, or in a few years. Dive into essential topics like financial planning, organization strategies, and how to secure your first client, all in one convenient resource. That's right, you don't have to spend hours researching. I have done that for you so you can focus on building your business. And that's not all. With your purchase, you'll also receive an exclusive meditation for business owners, mindfulness tips, a crystal guide for support, and gratitude exercises to help you stay focused and positive throughout your journey. Turn your dream of having your own firm into a reality with the Mindful Blueprint for Launching Your Architecture Firm. Click on the link in the show notes to get your copy today. Now, let's dive into the episode. So we're going to jump into today's episode with something we haven't done before, which is Jesse and I are going to ask each other questions. I will ask questions that typically architects know, and Jesse will ask me questions that typically a GC would know. And we're going to see how many we get right from the other.
I did the opposite. I came up with questions that you should know.
As an architect, I came up with questions that an architect would know that a GC may not.
But I'm not an architect.
I know, that's the whole point, that you asked me questions that only a GC would know.
Okay.
Well, let's just see how this goes.
Let's see how it goes.
Let's just see
All
how
right.
this goes. All right. So my questions for you are, what are the 5 phases of a project
For a general contractor?
for an architect?
5 phases of a project, of your project.
Yes. What are the typical phases?
Schematic,
Yes.
design development,
Yes.
construction administration,
Yes. Not in that order, but that's 3 of the 5.
project wrap up, project conclusion. No. Oh, that's it. That's all I got.
You've got construction document phase and bidding and negotiation. So very, very close. Question number 2. What is the first department an architect typically submits their plans to at the city?
Planning department.
Good job. How many architecture exams are there?
Nationally, there's 6. In California, there's a 7.
Wow, look at you. Question number 4. Can you name 3 architectural software programs?
CAD. Well, I don't know if Revit counts as an architectural.
Yes, it counts.
CAD, Revit, and...
Think about Eva's tattoo.
Oh, Rhino.
There you go. Shout out to my friend Eva, who was just visiting us recently. All right. Now, this is a pretty tough one.
Right.
So I typically use AutoCAD, right?
Yes.
And what is one AutoCAD command?
Copy paste.
Sure, there's copy. Paste doesn't work, but you can copy. Would you know what the shortcut for that command is? So
Control C.
Yes, that could be it. It's CO is copy, but close enough. Good for you.
All right, let me get that. That was kind of cheating.
Yeah.
How about like snap to?
Okay. Yeah, there's a snap to.
Like a snap to grid or something like that.
I think
snap
so.
To.
That's not something I use, but yeah, you can snap. You can snap to like endpoint, midpoint.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah. So you can snap. Wow, you even use snap. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right. And then the last question. Who should the client talk to first when starting a project?
Ooh, that one I think can depend on the client, but I would say traditionally they probably should start with the architect.
That is correct.
Insert eye roll.
Good job.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now, my questions. Question number 1.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, we both work in Laguna Beach, and as we know, Laguna Beach views are very contentious points with neighbors. So keeping roof heights reasonable is a part of that in your field of design where you have to, try to appease neighbors.
Yes.
What is the code minimum slope on a roof?
Oh my God. Doesn't it depend on what type of material the roof is?
Well, once you reach a certain slope, yes, you lose some options for roof material. I'll give you a hint. It's a percentage.
Okay. So it's not like 1 to something or like 3 to something. A percentage.
Percentage of slope.
Would you repeat the question?
Yeah. So what is the minimum slope required for a roof? Percentage for minimum slope of a roof?
I would say 2 to 5%.
It is 2%. Squeaked in there.
Yeah, I was like, the 1/4 inch per foot is a very minimal slope. So that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Thanks. Part of the AWA plus D program directorship, which you have, I went to the Hollyhock house of Frank Lloyd Wright's first home he designed in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Based off of that tour, what style inspired his design?
Did we have a tour guide?
No, but we kind of talked to them a little bit. And actually, to be fair, I overheard this, I think, while you were inside and I was signing people in. And I heard one of the docents talking to getting a group ready to take them in. So you may you wouldn't have heard this directly. You may have saw it indirectly.
Mayan?
That is correct. It is Mayan revival mixed with geometric design.
Oh, wow. I would have gotten the geometric better than Mayan.
Pull that one out.
I remember us talking about Belize for some reason. Yeah. That's what it made me remember. And we were just in Belize.
Okay. What is the correct term for the roof overhang? Like the part of the roof that sticks out past the wall.
The eave?
The eave is correct.
These are good questions. These are things definitely contractor related.
But things that you have to know.
That I have to know. No, I think this is good.
What are U factor and SHGC, and what do they stand for and what do they mean?
Okay, so I can do solar heat gain coefficient. That's easy. SHGC is solar heat gain coefficient. It's how much solar comes through the glass of a window.
Correct. How much energy?
Of it. The U value. U factor. Well, on our exams, it was called U value. So a U value is the inverse of R value, but U value is the amount of heat that goes back out through the window.
Correct.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow, we should get some trophies after this. I've gotten everyone right so far.
Number 5.
Okay.
What is the typical safe cantilever ratio for a deck extending beyond its support?
Oh, well, that's because I have a project like this.
Yes.
Oh, man.
And I gave you this answer.
I know you did. So let's say the deck is 10 feet cantilevered. You have to go back 20 feet. So it's twice the length of the cantilever.
Correct. The rule of thumb is typically 1/3 of the backspan.
That's 1/3.
Yeah. So that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because it's so 10 feet. Yeah. So 30 feet.
Wow.
You have really good questions.
Oh, thank you. And my last question is, what is the building material Sikaflex and what is it used for?
I'm going to go with it's a type of waterproofing system.
Yeah, kind of. But you don't know what it specifically is.
Absolutely not. You got me on that one.
It's caulk.
Oh, so Jesse pointed to his mug when he said this because I made him a mug that says rock out with your caulk out, but the caulk is CAULK, like caulking material. So very good. Very good. Those were some great questions, man. They were better than mine.
Put a lot of thought into them.
Yeah, no kidding. That was really, really good.
Thanks.
Okay, so I've asked you some questions. You've asked me some questions. Mm-hmm. Now listeners are going to ask us some questions.
What?
Yeah. I went on to Instagram and I had some questions. I said, can listeners please ask me some questions? And so it's just two that were relevant to this podcast.
Dump the contractor. I love it.
So the first question I got is from Steph Stuff Design. Steph is from AWA+D. Shout out to Steph. Thank you for submitting this question. She said, curious if you guys feel one business, either architecture or GC, is better or makes more money or is less stressful than the other. I thought that was a really good question. And I wanted to, unpack it here because I think we both are in high-end residential architecture in the same town. Mm-hmm. And construction. So I think we can speak very well to how it compares. It's not like you're commercial and residential and vice versa. So this is a really good question. So let's unpack it first with, do we feel like architecture or GC is better?
I mean, GC is better for me.
And I think architecture is better for me.
Yeah, I mean, GC suits my skill sets, my talents the best.
For sure. And I think architecture suits mine. So I think we've found careers that complement our strong suits. So I think that answers the better. Now, which one makes more money? I would say right now, you're making more money than I am. You are also years ahead of me in your career. And I just started out. Although you just started your own company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of depends. Like, I guess if you took the same project and said, okay, who on this project made more money, the architect or the GC? Still kind of depends. But like if you and I were on the same project and it would have to be something substantial. It could be like a bathroom remodel. Because you would, like a bathroom remodel, that's a good point though. A bathroom remodel, you would probably make more money than I would.
Probably.
Because I'm a cost plus builder, so I get a percentage of the overall work. And so if it's small, I just not very lucrative for me. But on a major project, like a multi-year project, which would then have to be very complex. Complex means costly. Costly means I would probably make more money on a multi-year, high-end project.
I think so, because a typical rule of thumb is, and it varies obviously, but a typical rule of thumb is an architect's fees will be about 10% of the overall construction. Now, does that include consultant fees, contractor fees? That's why it kind of varies, but typically, let's say a project is, for the sake of easy, just $100,000, 10% of that would be the architect's fees. So that's $10,000. That is correct there. Thank you. So, I mean, obviously you would be making, because your percentage is more than 10%, then you would make more than I would. Mm-hmm. Hypothetically. Now, cost of things are so vast right now, depending on finishes and materials and the structural. So I think it's a nice rule of thumb about, and it's something I've heard in the past. Do I think it's a little outdated? Yes, now, because none of my fees have been 10% of the construction cost because of how high construction cost is right now and how complex some of the projects are, especially once you start getting into caissons and the foundations, and so much money goes into that than if you were just on a flat site. So I think it varies, but I think you're very right in, yes, on a bigger project, you would make more money than I would as an architect, because I think also for you, it spans a longer period of time and like more your focus. Well, I guess no, because it technically spans longer for me because I'm already on the design phase of it.
It's probably about the same. If you're about 2 years of getting something from start to permit issuance, that's a large project. It'll probably take a year plus for the GC to go from demo to finish. Right. So I think it depends. But I think overall, I think you were smart to bring up a small project isn't lucrative for you. But for me, yes, right now, that's what I do have going for me is I have a lot of small projects. And so that's been really, really helpful. And then which one do we feel is less stressful than the other? And I would say yours is more stressful than mine. I would agree. Like hands down. I would say I have pockets of stress where I'm just like, oh my goodness, something's out of my control. The city's taking forever. Like there's something going on that is completely out of my control, or a client hasn't paid me or something like that. That's my stress point, because I don't get stressed too much about deadlines because I know how to organize myself, although there's been a little bit of stress for that. But the day-to-day stress and seeing the decisions you have to make, and time is money, especially during construction. Every day matters. Every day you're not building is just like another push with the schedule. So yeah, hands down, you have much more stressful than I do. Yeah, I would agree, because you're very conscientious about your business strategy and your time management. So I think you're very efficient. So you have more control over what your stressors could be. Yeah. Whereas me, I'm very reactionary. So like I'm there to just execute the plan, but that executing plan also means executing the changes. And so for me, it's like I have very little control. I'm there at the whim of the client, the architect, the interior designer, the structural engineer, the city, the neighbors. There's just a never-ending list of people that can control my day. And it probably doesn't appear that way to especially like my men that they look at me like I'm just never out of control. But the reality is that very little of my day is under my control. Oh, absolutely. I think, I agree. You're much more stressful. Steph, thank you for all these questions. These were really good. And then another question, I just leave it to these two. This is from Sarah Birding, a friend of ours, who, by the way, shout out to Sarah, just passed her California exam. Yeah. So congratulations, Sarah. You are officially a licensed architect. Yeah. So her question was, what is a notice of non-compliance? So for listeners, the backstory on this question is Sarah reached out to me a couple weeks ago. She was studying for her CSE exam, and she said, hey, what's a notice of non-compliance? Can you ask Jesse? It has to do with like a contractor. And I was like, I have no idea what this is. But I'm like, Jesse, do you know? He's like, no. So I text one of my other contractors. I'm like, hey, just random question. Do you know this? He's like, never heard about it in my entire life. And he's been in the industry, what, 40 years? Yeah. Twice as long as I have. Yeah. So finally, I reached out to Bryn from Be Young Design, and she helped me answer what it is. You all remember what it is? No, not really. I mean, I kind of guessed at it. I feel like I have the sense of it that something was built that's not per plan. Yeah. But I mean, that's kind of obvious in the name. Okay, so shout out to Bryn, who from Be Young Design, who said a notice of compliance is actually a good thing. It means whatever work was flagged before is now up to code or approved. It's usually from the AHJ, so the authority having jurisdiction, saying you're good now. If it was something not allowed or out of compliance, that would be called a notice of violation or notice of non-compliance. Easy to mix them up. I had it completely backwards. Yeah, I still don't get it, but that's okay because it's more contractor related. Yeah. But I get that. So that was an interesting question. So Sarah, thank you for bringing that question back on. But yeah, so that was interesting to think about the exams and what you study for on the exams and what is actually relevant in the working world.
So those are the questions from our listeners to each other. And I'd like to kind of pivot the conversation to, we're halfway through the year. We just finished quarter 2. And I want to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship, how we're doing business wise. What have we learned in this first half of the year in quarter 1 and quarter 2? How are things going? Are things being a surprise? If there's anything you'd like to share.
Yeah, it was finally, my project picked up some speed finally, and then it's kind of had ebbs and flows here and there, but just learning to be patient. Like I don't have control over most of it, and I'm very reactionary, but just trying to be patient and let the project develop, because really that's my only option. What else would I be? And my project is only ever changing for the better. There's details, finishes, materials are just being continually refined and elevated. Just the more people become part of the team, the more eyes get on it, and the more people contribute their skill sets and their talents to the project. So it's all for the betterment of the project. But sometimes it is frustrating because I'll be taking apart my own work, because one of the team members will make a design change, and I always make sure to tell my client, like, it's easy for me to take apart somebody else's work, like the original work of the house, is in many places kind of substandard. I said, but it's very difficult to take apart my work because I overbuild. Question you probably hear a lot too is, but I probably hear more is, oh, well, do you build the code? And my answer is no. Code's the minimum. That's the least the city, state, county will let you get away with. Like, that's the bare minimum. I build well past code. And so to take my stuff apart is time consuming, costly, messy, and so unfortunately that's the stage I'm in now. Is I've pretty much got the project out of framing and ready to go into roughs and in roughs and in several of the trades. And so taking my work apart now is just like, fortunately, it doesn't cost me anything because it's changes being made. That's not my financial burden, but it's just like, when you think because I build so much of the project in my head in advance. I have to go 2 or 3 months forward in time in my head with the project, because I have to then reverse engineer in order to know how to build something. I have to bring it. I have to take their design, their vision that's in finish, and I have to reverse engineer that back to the rough stage so I can build to it. So it can be frustrating that, because I'm constantly 2 or 3 months ahead, and then they make a change, and it's like all of that brain power I put towards that, whatever that task is just throw that away because there's a new design. And so now I have a new finish point I have to imagine to. And so that's like, then after you do that 3 or 4 or 5 times in the same spot or the same trade, it's just like, it is a little tiresome. You're just like, okay, throw all that brain power away, start thinking again, start the process over. So sometimes it's not just the physical work I'm taking apart, it's all the mental work I put into it.
I think that's interesting hearing it from the side of an architect as well, because like, we just wave our magic wand, our fingers around. We're like, oh, well, what if we move this and this, this, and this? And I think now hearing your side of things, I'm much more cautious when it comes to changing designs, especially during construction, knowing, okay, now we've decided to make this change. It's going to affect XYZ subs, don't forget, but it also affects ABC subs. And it's just like, there's just so much more to it. And I think that's helpful for me, because when we're on the other side of things, we're just like, I can change something in CAD in 20 minutes and whatever. And so you don't think about the consequences of when it's in that physical space. So I think that was a really interesting perspective. And then also recently you've been growing your team. And so from an entrepreneurial standpoint, as someone from my perspective, I'm hoping to delegate more. I finally had a project where I was able to delegate some work, and it was exciting, to see how that would even work. So if there's someone thinking about, starting to expand their team, any advice on when that time is, or how you knew it was time to start expanding?
Yeah. And by expanding, we're talking about hiring.
Hiring, yes.
Hiring direct employees.
Yes.
Or at least in my case, hiring direct employees. Not just like bringing on a new plumber, not expanding the team in that sense. For me, it was where I saw my first employee struggling to keep up with his workload. And I try to be very observant of not just my team, but all of my subcontractors and their men. Try to be really observant of everybody's morale because their morale shows up in their work. Like happy tradesmen do their best work. Very rarely can you get somebody who's just unhappy in a profession and they're doing stellar work.
Yeah.
And in our realm of where we work, that's the minimum. Stellar work is the minimum.
Yeah.
Like you can't just phone it in. So I started noticing like my first employee, my foreman, was just getting a little overwhelmed, still had a great attitude, but I could tell he was getting overwhelmed. And so, okay, now I need to hire some help for him. So I hired him an assistant in the form of a laborer. That's going okay. It's actually getting a little bit better over time, breaking somebody new into the profession. And then even those two are starting to get overwhelmed. And then I need to hire more. I saw the need to support the subcontractors more because that's what I do is I'm just there to make the subcontractors as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
So we really are just support personnel for the subcontractors. And my men are just force multipliers, just try to make everybody's job. I always tell my subcontractors, I can't paint, I don't know how to lay tile, I'm not an electrician, but I can carry stuff, dig something, move something, clean something. So that's what I instill in my men is like, we're here to make them more efficient. I'd rather me and my men carry 100 boxes of drywall mud into the house so that the drywallers can go immediately into using the mud rather than those guys carrying boxes. Anybody can carry a box. Right. So I don't need them to carry boxes. I need them to put drywall on the wall.
Right.
So those are the kind of things. So when I noticed that there was room to be more efficient and to be able to support the subcontractors more, that's when I started bringing on additional manpower and I'll just keep doing that until I feel like that balance is correct. But then like the reverse also happens. So like now I'm fairly caught up on my tasks. All of my subcontractors are in good shape. And so next week I'm letting a guy go. I'm sharing manpower with another general contractor. So so Monday he's going to finish with me. Tuesday morning he goes back to the other GC that he works for. And that's pretty common too in my industry where you have a few other GCs that you work well with, like friendly competitors, and that you share manpower. And we have an agreement that we don't try to steal that manpower. Like if they were originally an employee of, contractor X and they're willing to loan you them for a while, you don't try to entice them, to, hey, I'll give you a couple more bucks an hour. Why don't you just stay on with me? Like that's not fair. So I try to be reasonable about it. But so it works in reverse too. As I'm caught up, I have to let that manpower go.
No, it's definitely interesting. It's been interesting to think about because, like I said, I'm hoping to delegate more, and I've got an interview coming up with someone I really want to bring onto the team, and so onto my team. But obviously, mine isn't in the form of employees. Mine would be 1099. So there's a whole difference in that. And that's a whole other episode we could get into. But yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for sharing about this first half of the year.
Yeah, of course.
Do you have any questions for me and my business? Since you've been, not to put you on the spot, but we never really talked about the format of this episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for going with it.
Yeah. What is intimidating you about maybe expanding your team?
Oh, what's intimidating me is the organization of, I have so much of a workload, and my big thing is efficiency, transparency with my clients, and especially efficiency. And so I'm worried that, do I delegate this work out? Is it being efficient, or should I just do it myself? That becomes kind of a question. But if I send out too much work, does that then mean I'm just sitting around waiting? And thankfully I have so many meetings coming up where I don't know if I'll have enough time to be doing some of the CAD work, some of the pickup work, submitting stuff to the city, getting all that. And I am the one who has to show up to a lot of these meetings. It's client meetings, it's meetings with neighbors who have input in our design, things like that. So there's a lot of upcoming meetings I have. And it would be nice to know that someone in the background is working on the drawings for me, because that's where I get a little worried, where I've started to notice I've had to say no to a lot of meetings or just pushed meetings being like, hey, I have to get XYZ done. And at the moment, I don't have time to train someone or tell them how to do it. And I want to make also a schedule for that is I have to, I hire someone on, hey, here's how my files are set up. Here's how I expect this. Just copy this project. That takes a little bit of time. And when I'm full deep into just deadlines, I think that's what scares me is that. And then I think one thing that scares me, and I'm going to have to let go. And I think because of one of the people I'm interviewing to bring on my team, I have a working relationship with them in the past. Actually, both. The other person who has been helping me, former coworker of mine, so I know he can deliver. But the new person I'm bringing on is, can they deliver? What if they are late? I've had experiences with working with people. I've had to let people go who have worked for me in the past. And that is something I'm worried about is I have had to let go someone who worked for me in the past because they were not putting together the stuff on schedule. They had tons of personal stuff happening in life, and that happens. And it really sucked to let that person go. But I think some of that kind of worries me because I know this person will do good work, but it would suck to have to let them go if they don't do the work.
Yeah.
And I have high expectations because I have high expectations of myself. And so I think that's kind of intimidating for me. Also, loosening that control is going to be because I like to be organized. I like the things are done the way they are. That's why I'm my own boss. That's why I like to be a leader. Like I like to be in control. And so letting go of that control, and I've been able to let go of that control in other aspects of my life. And I've seen the abundance come through, like with work, not chasing, but attracting. And so now if I can let go and work and let go and have someone else do something for me so I can focus on my zone of genius and where I excel and where I'm needed, which is client meetings.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. Like there's a part of it where I'm like, wow, this was one of my, manifestations for this year was to grow, was to delegate work. And at the beginning of the year, I would have told you, I can't do that. I don't have enough work to keep me busy. How am I supposed to keep somebody else busy? And now I'm so busy that I definitely need the help.
Yeah.
And so it's training wheels are coming off a little bit the second year for sure. And it's exciting. It's a little scary, but I'm very cautious of who I'm bringing on to the team. And I'm very glad that one of the people reached out, would never have thought of it. And I think because I've had a working relationship with them, I feel confident that they are going to deliver.
Good.
Thank you. It's been a good year.
A good year. Yeah.
Been a good year. Definitely ebbs and flows in entrepreneurship. And I think it's definitely new challenges, but exciting challenges. And I'm excited. Well, thank you for taking time out of your morning to sit here with me and ask questions, answer questions. It was good. It was good to kind of catch up. And I appreciate you helping me with this podcast episode because life has been really busy lately. And the podcast has unfortunately taken a little bit of a back seat, and I'm excited. There's stuff coming up. There's things coming down the pipeline, which I'm really, really excited about. I guess I can tease it on this episode, the Woman in Architecture series in October. I have all the guests lined up. We're doing interviews this month. I'm very, very excited about who's coming back on, and it's going to be really, really fun. So I'm excited for that. So that's going to be coming. But yeah, otherwise kind of just taking the summer off. We've got lots of travel, lots of fun social events, probably every weekend booked till like September, almost mid-September now. So it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep. Totally.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of From the Honeycomb podcast. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to rate, review, and share it with your friends. To stay connected, follow me on Instagram at From the Honeycomb podcast, and you can support the podcast through the Patreon link in the show notes. And don't forget to subscribe to my monthly newsletter where I share exclusive behind-the-scene content and tips on running a mindful and successful architecture business. Thank you again for listening, and stay curious.